stood on the shoulders of geniuses to accomplish something as fast as you could. And before you even knew what you had, you patented it and packaged it and slapped it on a ceramic mug. And now selling it. You want to sell it. Well, life finds a way.
It's Friday. Welcome to VFX and Chill. It's me, Seth, and that's Hashi. As usual, we also have our buddy Michael. How are you guys?
Hey, we're doing very well. I'm loving all this thundery weather we're having.
I'm loving all this love that exists between the three of us that rains down upon us weekly every Friday at noon Central Time. Of course, we're talking about friendship, the concept of which everyone knows, hopefully. If you don't, come join our show and hang out and watch with us weekly. You'll be friends for ours for 2 hours. No, this joke is failing, so I am going to go ahead and go right to our little clip screen to talk about what we're actually doing this week. And what are we doing this week, Hush?
We are bringing the thunder and a little love. We are going to, we were all excited to see the Thor Love and Thunder trailer that premiered, I think, this week or pretty recently. And, oh yeah, there it is. In all of its Waititi-ness.
I love Thor Ragnarok. It was my favorite MCU movie, and I'm super happy that we're doing similar stuff again.
Movies can be fun. They can just be fun. And cool. Comic book movies should be fun and cool, man.
I agree. And stylish. And man, so much about this is stylish, starting with the titles to all this production design and like how I love the art design that's gone here. Like I love how ratty Star-Lord looks here. Like his hair looks like dude has been out at space, not showering for a while.
I like how Thor's hair looks like he's been on the beach
in
South Carolina for a while.
It does. And I got to say, this shot right here is my favorite kind of humor. And it's the kind that I hope people understand that when I act like an arrogant prick, it is just a character I've made up that is in this, it doesn't live up to this, but this shot of him throwing his jacket behind and it landing on some kind of royal emperor character is just like completely baseless confidence is my favorite kind of humor, and this movie seems to be baseless confidence of the movie, and I'm all up for it.
And it's such a great transformation too. Like I think that there's a lot of, like imagine comic book fans being divided over something, but I do know that the tone of the original Branagh Thor compared to the Taika Thor have been talked about a lot online, at least in my very silly bubble of, very important things. But I love this evolution.
I do too. I think it's a good idea that if, actually, I think it falls in line with our show. Hashi, you and I have talked a lot about, I'm sorry, that's the funniest shot. It's just that's great. And it's the 1-2 punch of that. And then Pratt's keeping the facial expression while moving. It's so good. Hashi and I have talked a lot about this show. We tend to like debrief over text, if you know what I mean. Hashtag Love and Thunder. We tend to debrief the shows over text on like Friday evening. And remind each other how much we love each other and appreciate each other. And we've regularly talked about how like one of us will get hyper focused and honed in on like trying to execute whatever we're trying to do. And normally that's me. And then Hashi has got this natural instinct to like see very quickly if something isn't working, and therefore just pivot it into something absolutely stupid and absurd and just find the entertainment value of it. And basically it's like, if it's not working, step back, stop taking yourself seriously, and try something really goofy instead. And I think that that's also the Thor franchise completely wrapped up in a summation. All right.
That worked. That worked. That was good, Seth.
I did it. Did it.
Incredible. So, yeah, I don't think that I have anything really specific that I want to tackle. That shot that just played right there is one that I thought could be fun.
That's a very Hashi shot.
Classic, like, it's a unique way to do it, like, how many spaceships have we seen jump into warp in some way? This is cool. They've got their own kind of thing. And I don't remember, did Ragnarok establish this, or was it?
I think it's the Nova Net.
Guardians
it's
2 or
I think
something.
it's Guardians. It's some kind of Nova thing, isn't it? Feels like a Nova thing.
Yeah. So
if only there were
very
people on
cool
the internet who knew
teleport.
this stuff.
But yeah, there's no way to know.
There's no way to know. I think I'm going to take the titles. The titles are these are very Seth Worley, like these are calling to me. This is like, these titles are like Judge Doom shaving a haircut on the wall to My Roger Rabbit. Like, I have to recreate this. So why not? Well, there's some other shots. Are you going to tackle the honeycombs or anything else you want to do?
I think I'll work with Honeycomb for a while, but also this is a participatory show. So people in the comments, people who are here to watch, throw out what you want to see. And we can also try to make that happen and just, try to have fun. Absolutely.
So, all right, let's jump in. I'm going to talk about these titles a bit while you get your stuff situated, and then we can, I don't know. Do you have stuff to get situated? Because
like I got nothing over here prepared. Like if, in case you're, I'm a little adjusted weird over there.
I'll get it. You do nothing.
Nice. So if you're here enjoying this Red Giant show, you're probably aware of Maxon in general, and we had a really huge spring announcement this week, which is pretty cool. Big. So there are a lot of really cool, exciting things that you can see. You can check out the full announcement video about what all is new, what things are updated and included with this and that and whatnot. A lot of cool new things available to people, but I am going to flounder with just some random stuff here in good old After Effects.
I've got some stuff.
Hang on. We should talk a little bit more about the spring launch a bit. Like, what was your favorite thing?
Favorite thing?
The favorite new tool that came out.
I am really, really proud that we pulled off Redshift CPU. I think that that's a really cool universal thing that will make a lot of people happy. It makes Redshift accessible to everybody, and like whatever hardware or software you're using, it's really cool to be able to access Redshift because it just looks so cool. And, while it's continuing to get better on the GPU, you can now do a CPU version and across all sorts of systems.
Yeah, and they're saying that they've still got some significant performance increases they're planning to bring to that. So it'll be, it's not going to be probably anywhere close to GPU speeds, but it should be significantly better on CPU speeds shortly. I think this is great for like freelancers or hobbyists who don't necessarily have a screaming fast GPU but want to be able to use the power of Redshift. It's now available. It's just really handy. Seth, what was your favorite thing in the release?
Yeah.
My favorite thing, there's a couple things I really like. I like the subtler stuff tends to be what gets me excited on this release. The film halation in looks is really, really great. That's the thing that it's something I've been wanting for a long time.
For those who aren't aware, halation in film is where the light bounces back off of things and bleeds light across, especially noticeable in contrasty edges. And now, it used to be very difficult to emulate in After Effects or Premiere Pro or Final Cut. DaVinci Resolve has it built in, but it's not as good as the one in Looks. The one in Looks is the most accurate film halation that Stu has ever seen, and Stu
and you
has
can
seen
still
them all.
use it in Resolve because Looks works in Resolve.
Looks works in Resolve.
The It's really great for putting on like 3D. Like I found halation really helps in compositing 3D renders. Like it helps light bleed like much better. And yeah, anyway. I like the halation and looks. I also like. There's a couple universe things that came out. Chromatown is a that's been around for a while. I remember when Stu showed us his like thing that I think Stu originally made it.
It was Stu.
And it was just a thing that looked really cool, and no one really knew the like practical application of it. It was just like, look what I did with math, and and now it's out, and it's awesome. It's like really, you can make some really trippy looking stuff.
Yeah, I will say, if you are like, oh, let's try the new universe, and you apply Chromatown to your footage, and you're like, hold on for a second, start playing with it, because you can do so many different things. It's extremely powerful. If you just start playing with stuff, you can make it do a lot of things. You can use it for transitions, you can use it for stylization, you can use it for like it can do a lot.
Yeah. And
I was surprised.
Speaking of transitions, there's actually Universe has a couple really cool things that I like. Like it's so simple, but the stretch transition, I think that the thing that goes very under celebrated are the transitions that have come out of Universe over the past several years. Like that stuff is so useful for editors who don't want to like kick stuff over to After Effects or somewhere to make cool transitions. They just want to be able to like boost a cut in certain ways, like especially TV editors and stuff.
Stretch and warp I rely on like crazy, because it just feels like you did that extra effort, or had to, it adds so much like dynamic action to your scene, whatever's going on.
Hang on. I'm sorry. I have to stop the conversation cold, because Frigby Chillweather, friend of the show, just said the most amazing pun in the chat, which was Thor Raptor Rock. And I can't ignore it. I can't let it go unspoken of, and I can't let it not take over our entire... No, I can let it not take over our entire show. But we'll fall back on Raptor Rock if we flounder.
Well, you're about to do some title design, right, Seth?
I am.
So perhaps,
I was going to do Love and Raptors, but Raptor Rock is the one to do. So
Raptor Rock.
Anyway, I'm sorry. Back to universe transitions.
Oh, they're just so handy having that power right there in the NLE without having to go to After Effects. It's hard for me to pick my favorite thing in the new release, because the new real lens flares, like, it's just a technology preview, so it's like performance and features that are still to come down the road, and Maxon wants you all to try it out and give your input on where it should go. But the first time I animated it moving like across near the center of the frame, and you could see all the lens element shapes changing like how it actually does in a real lens, and no other lens flare plugin can come close to that realism and beauty. Like the first time I did that, I literally gasped. So I kind of like, that could have been my favorite, but I use optical diffusion in Magic Bullet Looks on like everything. So from like something I'm probably going to use all the time. Like if you've been looking at the Red Giant social posts like in the past 2 months or so, you may have noticed some really beautiful diffusion in some of the stuff, and it's because I've been beta testing that, and I just can't stop putting it on things because it makes it look so pretty.
Yeah, it's great, and a lot of really great presets in there too, referencing specific camera diffusion. That's really great.
But I think my favorite thing is the task manager in Cinema 4D. It's not a headline feature, like no one's good. It's not flashy, splashy marketing, but it's the kind of thing that makes your everyday life working in Cinema 4D better. What it does is it makes a lot of the tasks that used to take up the interface and lock you out backgrounds, asynchronous it's called. So say you're opening up a complex OBJ or some sort of stupid model from a CAD software, instead of having to wait like half an hour for that huge, annoyingly thing model to open, it opens it in the background. So you can continue working on whatever you're doing while it's opening in the background. Auto saves are faster, and especially on a network saves. Like it's little tiny stuff like that that is just going to make work so much faster. That's probably my favorite, just because it's going to be useful all day, every day, and it's going to save you literally hours of your life.
Totally. Well, on that note,
Great stuff. Let's go.
Let's head to Raptor Rock. Wrong thing. Here we go. Well, look at that. How'd you do that?
Oh, so I was just curious. Let me just reset this real quick. I opened up what I believe is the newest version of Trap Code Particular. I'm just going to reset it to the defaults here real quick. I know what I do. I asked it too fast.
It's okay. While it's working, if anybody out there, you know that I'm a type nut. I'm a font like nerd, and I love trying to find close matches to like movie fonts and stuff. I'm having the hardest time with this one. This has got to be a custom job. I figured out the top one for Thor. Oh, come on. I've figured out some close ones for Thor. The O is custom in that one, but the TH and R, like, I found a good substitute for that. The Love and Thunder part that's in the rest of these titles, if anybody out there has any suggestions on fonts to go to, I'm pretty sure that this is custom, but I would imagine it's modified from a pre-existing font. And I say that because it looks so familiar to me, and I would love any suggestions anyone out there has, even though they might not. But if you've got any, let me know, because I would love to be working in this font. Instead, I'm going to work in a different font that's kind of the same vibes. But Hashi, you need me to leave your screen, take your screen off?
Sure. I've been running this computer ragged and should have probably given it a good like restart or cleared my.
Oh, it's all right. They're used to me.
Cleared my system before starting out here. So.
While you're waiting for it to boot Hashi, there are some requests in the chat. Warp Effect Frigby says should be easy with the C40 with Cloner and Fields, which is accurate. But other people are asking if they want to see the floating city with the beam flying by. Someone says that where'd it go?
Let's
the
see.
Opening running shot was super cool.
Oh yeah, that one looks like Griffith Park.
Which
and not
one?
at all like it.
Oh yeah, the opening. It does look like Griffith Park.
I'm just like, oh, it's like every CSI episode intro.
What's funny is it's probably just several plates of Griffith Park. Like, it's, composited, because there's no way that they shot that in a real park. Well, maybe they did. Who knows?
I mean, the opening shot is neat, but it's also just some really obvious
tree wipes.
Tree wipes. I mean, they're not even. They're pretty.
You could recreate that, but like.
It's just a mask that travels with the tree to wipe between the different stages of Thor.
They're like Hitchcock's rope level hidden cuts.
I have a question. Is the cape real or digital?
It's always digital. There's no way
digital.
They never do a real
Capes
cape.
are always digital.
Capes and bricks, apparently, as we've learned from the latest.
Yeah, it was a snow
corridor
globe.
breakdown.
Blew my mind.
Spoiler alerts
for people who watch Corridor Digital.
All right, so people have said the opening shot is cool. Yeah, what about that? Do we like?
You were talking about doing chains, right? At one point, or
I did think about doing chains, but then I found out that Rocket Lasso Chris Schmidt has covered chain dynamics in such thorough ways that I wouldn't even compare.
You could also,
but I will
go ahead.
With the new rope dynamics in Cinema 4D S26, you might be able to do some of that even better.
That's a good point.
That's a really fun map painting. While we're looking at it, just thought I would compliment the. And now somebody is erased here. There's absolutely a character painted out here.
Yeah, that's framed weird.
That's a very classic Marvel move to have.
Yeah.
The scenes that are just
the No Way Home one where bad guys are getting punched by invisible people.
Yes.
Yeah, so they're definitely hiding a reveal, which is possibly what's her face is Thorness.
Yeah, yeah, probably. So this is
Jack Nat.
This is great. Jack Nat. This somebody mentioned the floating city shot. That's something
with the guy flying through it.
Yeah.
They think the person flying through it is probably Gore the God Butcher.
I thought that too. I think that whenever I see
everyone's favorite tool. Let's see. All right. You know what? I do. Let's let me play around with that opening shot for just a second. I have an idea of what we could do to do something like that.
You're gonna do the running
I am
trees?
going to download a piece of stock footage over here on this side.
Oh my gosh. Are you good for me to go back to the screens?
Yeah, go for it.
While you download and give everybody our login credentials. Oh my God, you're doing it. I'm all for it. I want to talk about these titles and kind of the elements that go into it. So there's obviously there's a 3D extrusion aspect going on here with some really overdone like gradient ramp and stuff and it's almost like
that looks like Universe Luster.
I was about to say it's like the next level version of Luster. It's what Luster is essentially emulating.
And a hint of Electrify in there too.
Yes, that's the next thing is they boosted it or what they sweetened it with the Electrify. I'm pretty confident I can just drop Electrify on here and do a preset and it'll be done for that part.
Or maybe Ecto.
I mean, look, we could always put Ecto on things on this show. Always.
Here we go. Luster, Electrify, Ecto, and Shine.
Okay.
Shine.
Here's what I'll do. I'm going to do a universe version. I'm going to do a universe version, and then I'm going to do an element version probably, and then I'm going to try a cinema version. I'm going to do the cinema version. I don't know what order I'll do them in, but I think it is worth trying to do a universe version. It won't look like this, but the universe version, however, would be Luster, Electrify, maybe the backwards beam one.
Point zoom.
No, the quantum. So Luster, quantum, Electrify, and then I would say this looks like optical glow with radiate on, but I can probably do it with.
Oh yes, that probably is what that is.
Now, however, in this one, there's definitely a flare, a null light flare. We have a preset that looks exactly like that flare.
Yeah, that's Null Light Factory.
And again, to get into the type, I freaking adore this. It's driving me batshit that I can't figure out what Love and Thunder, what font that, what a good font to recreate that in. I tried the Friday the 13th font. I searched the Baywatch font. None of them are lining up. But like that damn T, it is going to haunt me for the remainder of my days. Anyway,
those custom fonts, man.
So this is what I got.
Listen, people. Go font hunt on one screen while you watch this show on the other. Save Seth's sanity.
In the pre-show, I mean the prep leading up this morning, I made this with Element, and I actually did try in Cinema 4D, and it was actually working great. But because I'm a uneducated child, well, let me say this. I made this an Element, but an Element couldn't do something that Cinema could do, which was extrusion keyframing. But I did this with Element and Universe Gradient Ramp I actually used for that texture, and Electrify, and that it literally is an Electrify preset with no adjustments made to it.
Darby Facento says it's the He-Man font.
I looked that up too. It's not the He-Man font. Hang on a second. He-Man font. It's not, sir.
All right, I'm over here trying to find similar things of
woods jogging shots.
But let me show you something kind of interesting that I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try a look overhaul on this because the teaser has these really cool, it's like misty. They fogged this whole thing up, and the transitions are all these cool trees. So one thing that I've seen a lot on, we'll say, the social media platform of your choice would be you'd have a piece of footage like this and you'd think, I would love to create a seamless loop of something like this. So not quite the same thing that they're doing in the Thor teaser. They're transitioning between several elements. But one of the things that can be really fun to do with a piece of footage like this is to kind of find a moment where I'd say around here, the character is pretty centered and there's a big tree wipe right there, which is pretty awesome. And so I'm going to split my footage right there and I'm going to just move forward. Let's see, what step is he on? He's about to put all his weight on his left leg. So let's find the next point that he's about to put all his weight on his left leg. Oh man, and it's right there. with this other. Okay, this footage turned out too perfect for a loop.
That's gonna be a pretty short loop, Hosh. You want to try to find one like way later in the clip?
Yeah, let's do a little bit later in the clip. Let's see. Let's find the next time he's putting all his weight down. There, he's a little bit off center. Let him get back a little bit more to center.
Right. No, he's not on his left leg.
Oh, the camera. He gets a little further away, so maybe we've got to find somewhere around here. Maybe right around. This one might work. Let me try splitting that. So if I split the footage like that and I duplicate it really quickly, I can just do a gut check to see if I were playing this one clip to the other. It's funny because I'm sure streaming, it's barely apparent that it's cutting right here.
It is barely apparent that it's cutting.
Which is one of the reasons why that Thor one is like neat, but not dramatically impressive that you can do that. So let's see. So what I really need here is I need to go a couple frames further to get that tree blocking him. You know what? Actually, right where we were was perfect.
Seth, the chat says part of it are like Mephisto. David Fairchild, that's from Frigby. Chillweather. David Fairchild says Thundercats. And Frigby Chillweather says close is True Font's God of Thunder too. God of Thunder is a font space font.
God of Thunder.
Not God of Hammers.
Seth is
not
maybe
God of
muted.
Hammers. Yeah, Seth is muted.
Sorry. God of Hammers, not God of Thunder, because God of Thunder is right here, and that's a really good close one for using for the top here on here for Thor. And then Mephisto looks it's yeah, it's similar, but it's not here, I tried that one.
All right.
And it looks it doesn't work.
Hashi, what are you doing?
So this weekend I was feeling a little loopy and thought like, hey, I should buy that plugin that I've been chalking up for a little while, which is a plugin by Brace available on AE Scripts called Depth Scanner. Damn. It does exactly what you think. Look at this.
What?
With improved temporal coherence, I can get a depth pass.
It's not great. Looking at the tone of the person.
This is the let's see. This is the faster model. I can turn up the detail enhancement a little bit and let it think a little bit longer per frame. And I can also change it from the faster mode to accurate if I want. And now it'll think for a little bit longer, and I'll show you what result it gives me. But I have a feeling that I could actually just work with the slow version today. So you can turn up the quality of this, but I'm going to go with faster, with some slight detail enhancement, and see if I can pull off what I'm going to try with this footage, which is, let's just pre-render out the depth bit from this. We'll call this depth, and I'll just do that as
pro tip. Sometimes pre-rendering something that you're going to be using a lot that can take extra processing power will save you time in the long run. You may think, gosh, I don't want to stop what I'm doing to pre-render this, but listen, it can save you time in the long run.
Exactly. I want time saved in the long run here. So this can be a TIFF sequence. It doesn't need to have, this could be a JPEG sequence for all that matters. Which would load faster, Michael, a JPEG sequence or a TIFF sequence?
TIFF sequence.
It's so crazy to me.
Not by a noticeable difference. It's not like a ping sequence. Ping sequences are like the slowest thing. Never use ping, people. Never. Use EXR if you must. TIFF if you've got the hard drive space.
All right, so this is a pretty simple approach. We're just getting 108 frames of this. I'm running the depth scanner plugin just on practically all of the default settings. And really what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to try to add some of that cool atmosphere that's in those Thor shots. And then in the end, because we have a pretty convincing loop, even without me doing any digital help, I'm going to add in a tree wipe right at the moment that it's looping right now, so it does come across as a perfect loop. I had no idea this is what I would be tackling. This is so silly. Maybe I can add a cape to him and a digital cape to him in these scenes.
So, by the way, update on my font thing. I'm instead of basically all the suggestions were the only ones I could find, and they're not close to it. And Darby's right. It's a custom job, but I think it started. I still think it started from a pre-existing font. Anyway, I'm going to go with this fun font that I've loved for a while called Skull and Void. I don't remember where I originally got it.
Skull and Void.
And it's got the look and style and feel that we're going for. So I'm doing the universe version first, everybody. So just so you know, that's what I'm doing. I'm going to work my way up. So,
very cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my footage, which is right here. Then I have that depth pass that we just rendered right on top of it like that. And I'm going to invert this. Just invert like that. And now I'm going to turn this to screen blending mode. And then I'm going to do kind of a mask like this and just feather it like that. And let's add some toner. Yeah, make it a little bit warmer. Kind of that dreamy looking thing. Maybe we'll make the brights a warm color too. I'm just guessing on the colors here. And I'm going to over brighten it using some trap code shine in just a second. So I want to go darker than I expect it to be in the end. So let's do something like that. Let me see what this looks like. So not flawless, but remember that this is the lowest resolution depth matte I could output using that plugin. And the difference between basically the original image and this gives it this crazy misty filter in the background here. And in fact, if I took this whole thing and just added some like fast blur to it, it'd probably get rid of some of those crunchy. Oh no, it's going to look weirder, huh? Ooh, now it can look. That looks rough. Don't do that. Never mind. Just increase the detail if you have the chance. But let me see if I just added an adjustment layer on top with some shine. Shine is a classic God Ray creating tool appropriate for this Thor simile. Let's go to the under colorize. You can have it use a gradient like this, or you can select none and have it just use the colors from your footage, which I didn't know for years of using shine. So know that you can select none if you want it to use the colors of your footage. But
yeah, shine is basically a radial blur that just happens to be a lot faster and higher quality than the native radial blur in After Effects, but it also is comping it with the source footage, and you have control over that in Shine, and it's also optionally colorizing it, as Hashi has pointed out.
So I'm jumping into the threshold here and turning it up just a bit, so it's sort of like you'll still see some rays hitting the ground like that. Let me see what we got here. We've got some exciting sports action going on outside. Pardon me, everybody.
Well, I'm over here doing the universe version with Luster and Quantum, and it's not going to be up to snuff with the major motion picture trailer, but it is kind of still a very fun look that we're getting here. I actually wonder if instead of Luster, so that Quantum definitely isn't the. Okay, sorry, it's a million thoughts. Let me say this: I've hit the point now where I usually do where I'm like, you know what? I don't think with the tools I'm using here, I don't think I'm going to be able to achieve the exact results of the trailer. So instead, my instinct now is to just lean on the strengths of the tools that I'm using and actually make something that is in the same vein, like same kind of genre of style, but may not be an exact match. So I think that's what I'm going to do right now is like, I'm going to proceed to make something that is not exactly, it's more inspired by the Love and Thunder titles, but it's not exactly a recreation, if everyone's okay with that.
I mean, I'm okay with it.
Michael, thanks, buddy. You're the best. I love you.
Love you too.
Hashi, you back? Everyone alive? You're muted, pal.
The chat says the title looks nicer already with Red Giant than the original one.
That's the style we're going for, I guess you're right, is bad and weird. That's interesting. Hashi,
Now, Roka, you could saber
lost you, man.
on this one because it is a text layer, but if you were doing this on some other things, Ecto would be easier since you don't have to worry about it being a text layer or a mask. Ecto is similar to Saber, except that it just works on any alpha, which is probably more handy in this particular case. It isn't more handy, it's the same level of usefulness in this case, but there you go. Anyway, we're doing the universe version, so probably use Ecto to get that sparkle on the edges.
Hashi, are you hearing Hashi? I'm not.
I'm not hearing Hashi at all.
Hey, what's
There
up,
he is.
everybody?
Hi, Hashi.
Hey. So all I've done is I adjusted some thresholds and stuff in here, and I also checked the box for fractal noise so I can add some grit to the air here. With the X speed at, I'm just going to say negative 90, I'm going to change that to 3D. Well, that may not work since I'm not using lights. Turn this down a bit. All right, so not crazy perfect, but let me just, I want to just demo the idea that using a depth pass as a way to composite something can be exceedingly fun to do. So let me put this up here in the corner just as a like before after situation. Like you don't have to be locked to the footage as it came in.
Yeah, that looks.
I mean, the
like
colors
a
are ridiculous.
Completely different piece of footage. I mean, it's fine.
I mean, normally
maybe tone down toner a little bit.
Yeah, I would take all this stuff. Yeah, let's do that. Let's blend that with the original about half or more. And then if I were to add some magic bullet looks, I could really quickly shop through some looks of what this could turn out like. Oh, though I should have picked a better frame. So maybe I'll go back to a better frame. Whoops, that's going to be a little bit too big for y'all. Let's see. And let me find a better moment where you can see him. Oh man, this looks like the cover of like a small studio DVD release.
Yeah, it definitely does.
Right here.
It does. Or a music video from the early 2000s.
Or like some
my gosh.
2012 era Red Giant Magic Bullet promos.
I love it.
Too far? I'm going to get
All
fired
right.
over that, aren't I?
Let's see, what do we got? Let's see, Humongous, Laser Jam, Optimus, Spinoff, Historia.
For those,
Amberchrome.
Text Edges is a preset in Electrify that will give you pretty much exactly the look that you're wanting if you drop it on text. Actually, I dropped this onto the wrong layer. What I'm going to do is duplicate this layer, turn off luster, and apply that electrify preset to it. Actually, what I was doing was right. Sorry. Anyway, Hashi, I interrupted you. Sorry, man. I keep thinking you're like
No.
taking a break to do
I'm
something.
doing nothing. Like this is as far as I want to take this shot. I mean, this is already like that shot is just cool because they filmed it and used some tree transitions. But let me see. This one, because we found the right like leg fall, you could do a slight adjustment there to not even notice that that's looping.
Yeah, some digital pan and scan would really sell it entirely.
So the main drawback right now is that if you wanted to, when you're doing the depth scan, you could try to keep him at a consistent level when you had it up, because right now, when he's the foregroundmost element, he becomes completely opaque like that. And then as soon as the depth scanner realizes something is more in front of him, then he gets pushed a little bit more misty. So we're kind of balancing in between these two, and I could turn down my shine effect to much lower. I could turn down the toner effect to a lot lower, but either way, like you get the idea that we're adding mist that feels like it has some informed depth to it, which is kind of cool. And then if you wanted to, you could always add like a solid, add some, what would I add? I would add mirror to it. And then once you've done that, just go to the shader settings, change it to smooth, and the blend mode to normal. Sample the dude's wait, let's see. What did I do? Sampler's off screen. All right, so we've got this crumpled paper looking thing, and I'm going to go create a new dummy layer, which is just a black solid. I'm going to add a gradient ramp to it. Seth, cut me off if I'm being too.
I think that what I'm doing, I think what
ridiculous.
you're doing is more interesting. As usual, what you're doing is more interesting than what I'm doing, but you're also.
I'm spinning out in a crazy way right now.
No, it's fine. I think also what I'm doing is people really want to know they can watch. They're watching. It's visually happening on screen, but the Universe one is actually coming out really fun, much more fun than I thought it was going to.
Nice.
I think you need a little bit of highlights only on yours, Seth.
Hey, Michael, when a man is in process of applying optical glow to and has not said, "Look at this, it's done."
Sorry.
How dare you tell me to?
Hashi, what are you making? Are you making a tree?
So here's what I'm doing. I've added mirror, just with the default settings. I switched the material to this sampled kind of brownish color, like from the footage. Under fractal, I've added an amplitude layer, which is this solid that I added a black to white gradient ramp. And what's cool about that is if you then go and say amplitude layer in mirror, you can choose that ramp, and as long as you choose effects and masks, you can see that where the ramp is black, there's none of the fractal displacement, but over here there's a lot. And so if I were to change some of the things in here, like I can turn up the amplitude a little bit, and that looks wild, but that's really just because I have too much frequency on this. If I turn the frequency down to a lovely level around here.
Oh, I know what you're doing, you sneaky.
Look at it. And now I can also do cool stuff like geometry, 3D model settings. Let's see. You know what I can do is if instead of plane I said 3D model, I can click on the create null button right there, but then I can just switch back to my plane, and then I'll still have this controller. I don't know why it's not enabled from the get-go there. Oh, what did I do? Come back. What happened to all my fun stuff? Fine. I'll undo to here. I'll just manually do this. Let's rotate this in X a little bit, like that. And now let's go to the fractal offset. Let's have it scroll in a negative X direction. And let's go up to our base geometry and say, you can have some more vertices geometry. I don't mind. And then let me just quickly preview what I've got going on here. Oh, got it. Forgot to set an expression for the scroll. So let's call it time times negative 500. I don't know, 500 pixels back per second. Yeah!
Hashi, that
Cape.
is so fun.
Cape. All right, let's see. Where is our character? Our character is about here. Let's move it this way. A little bit that way. We could rotate it. We could give a little bit of gravity if we wanted to, like that. Okay, so you may ask, since he's sort of centered, like that cape is just going to stay like sort of next to him, whatever. You could then use that depth pass, which we pre-rendered, mind you, put it up here, and then for this mirror layer, set it as a Luma mat. And let me see what I've done here. Oh, an inverted Luma mat, I mean. Did that make any sense what I'm doing? Am I making sense to anybody?
Sure.
Makes sense to me.
All right, let's just adjust the brightness on this to knock out that tree. Screen, normal. All right. Right now I'm trying to use the depth mat to erase the cape behind things. It's not great. Oh, is it because it has that mask on it? Oh yeah, there we go. That's it.
Boom.
Boom. He's got obviously that cape is flying too fast, but you all get the idea. It's very easy to add a cape using mirror and some very remarkably simple settings. So why ever film with a cape when you could use mirror?
Exactly.
Yeah, don't shoot something practical. Who knows if you would get the flow just right. All right, amplitude, fractal type, smooth ridge. No, multi-smooth ridge.
The chat is asking if we think that those are actors on a treadmill comped into a shot, or if we think they actually had actors running in woods. I think actual actors running in woods.
I think they actually shot the plate real in woods.
Oh my God, Frigby, Hashi has no cape fear.
Jesus, Frigby isn't real. Frigby is Michael on another account, yet another account. Frigby may have been real at one point, then Michael killed him for his account.
All right, I tire of this cape shot. What do we move to next?
Yeah, I'm tired of the universe version, and I cheated and put shine in there as well. That's the universe version.
Michael, what were people asking for in the chat? Is anyone asking for something meaningful?
Someone asked for the shot of the city with the person flying across. I think if you go to the trailer, there's a shot that I think would be interesting to look at. Go a little further past.
So the city was
where's his? I want to go back a little bit.
So there's the city.
Yeah, that one with the person flying through the shot. That. I think they were more interested in the person flying through the shot than the creation of the city, because the creation of the city would be a lot of 3D modeling or procedural generation, blah, 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 blah.
You know what? I'm not afraid of this shot.
Or ghosts.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you say, piss off, ghost.
Aerial.
Can't do a Taika Waititi accent.
All right.
Is that what that
Seth,
was?
take over for a second. I'm gonna jump onto ArcGrid for a moment here.
All right. So this is the using only staying in After Effects and using only universe and then a couple of red giant things as well. And it actually is really fun. It's not exact to the Thor titles, but this you could totally make a fun 80s title sequence with these tools. Like, I actually am delightfully surprised by how this looks. Now, let's dive into, yes, I know that I'm guilty of constantly using Element because as a crutch, but I've been using Cinema a lot more lately, especially on our Raptor shots we've been doing, since Hashi prepped a really nice Raptor asset and rigged the thing. I've actually been opening up Cinema and making custom like poses of the Raptor's head for a lot of our posts. So I'm getting more familiar with Cinema. So I am going to use Cinema a little bit in here, but first I'm just going to start with like the age-old way of me doing it with Element. Naturally want to create I'm going to create a solid and call it Element or Element, whatever my computer allows. Ailment, Video Copilot Ailment. And I'm going to apply Ailment. And then I'm going to do what often kills After Effects. I'm going to click Scene Setup to open up Element. Here we go. So, I missed a very important step. Custom layers. You want to select text and masks, Raptor Rock. I'm going to turn off that layer, go back into Element, and I'm just going to click Extrude. And now it should have extruded that text. It'll show up any second now. At some point. Maybe if I go over here and then back over here. There it is. I don't know why it does
look at that.
Now it did something weird. I have a solution to this where it like anywhere it overlaps, it creates these voids. Hashi, is there a setting in here that I can just click and fix this? Otherwise, I have a solution.
I don't remember if there's a fix holes. Like I think there's a spike filter and stuff, but I don't remember.
I'm gonna click check.
So not that apparently.
Okay, so
I don't know.
Here's what I recommend instead. I'm going to turn off Element real quick. I'm gonna select this Raptor Rock text layer, and I'm gonna go to Layer, Auto Trace. The downside of this is you can't like customize the text like real time anymore, but that's fine. So it created a solid. It traced that font and created a new solid with a bunch of masks, recreating the font. So now I'm gonna go in. And I'm gonna turn Element back on, turn that off. So now we're looking at Element. I'm gonna go to the custom text and masks, and I'm gonna instead select Auto Trace Raptor Rock, and it replaces it there, and the holes are fixed. Excellent. So let's dive back in here, and I'm gonna create the extrusion. And I can do this a couple different ways. There's a bunch of these preset bevels that Video Copilot has. Which I actually don't think I need them. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to I'm going to create 3 different. Hang on. I need 3 different. Bevel copies. Here we go. I'm going to do 3, and that did nothing. I thought that was going to do something, guys. It did nothing. So. I'm going to, let's just, real quick, easy way to extrude this is to click this, turn that extrude up. Oh, you know what I want? Here's what I want. Sorry. I'm going to go into the bevels. I am going to use the bevel, and I'm going to apply Century, this like Century preset. And that should, man, my computer's running slow. Hopefully the stream is still alive.
It's all good. We're doing well. I am totally just, I'm letting you flounder because I am shopping for stock, which is always a super quick and not at all tedious process.
And Michael's singing to us. Thank God.
I do like getting to try to improvisationally do something that y'all are asking for. So I'm going to go with this thing. I'm going to download something over here. Let's see. I am going to download some footage from Malta. Check out. Boom, boom, boom. And let's go grab this piece of footage. And I'll show you what I'm going to do. This is something similar to what I did for like a student short at some point, where I really wanted to create some extensive, do some extensive world building. So check this out, everyone. We're going to import this footage of this building in Malta. I do not know specifically what it is based on the description from the site. It is a beautiful urban smooth movement long shot city buildings landscape aerial church. So that's what it's known as here. And we're going to take this little shot right here, and I'm going to grab the footage, and I'm going to scale it way down to begin with. I'm going to scale it down like this, and I'm just going to play that through. And you may ask, that seems very silly to do, but what I'm going to do next is I'm going to run the 3D camera tracker when this is small. So to do that, I've got to first pre-compose this. So we're going to right-click and say pre-compose, moving all elements into a new composition, and we're going to call this the main building. And now that that is basically nested within there, there's no transformation scale properties, you can run the camera tracker. So let's run track camera. That's going to analyze in the background. And obviously all of the data for this is going to just come from this center piece right here. And that's actually really beneficial for us, and I'll show you why in a moment. While that does its cutting out and stuff, let's create another copy of Malta over here and bring it over to this window. We've got this little temple that we're flying around. We've got some cool other buildings and detail in the background here that I like. And let's see how visible they become. They become about this visible at some point. I like that. I'm going to save this frame, Control-Alt-S, and we'll call that a still. Render it. Now I'll bring this, let's see, how does our 3D tracker go? All right, we've got a 3D track, everyone. So now I'm going to go ahead and find a ground plane of sorts here. These 3 points, maybe I'll add a couple more, seem to roughly define what feels like the ground plane. So I'm going to create a solid and camera. That solid is way down here, but if I kind of scale it up so I can see its orientation, I can align it with what feels like the world space here. And then I'm going to run our famous free normalized track script, which requires you to say, we'll call this floor, and then we'll run the normalized track script. And now any 3D object I bring into this scene will be based around this little spot right here, basically the ground plane within the shot, which is great. And it seems like a pretty solid track. So I like that. And now if I go to my, let's make another whole copy of this stock footage, and let's see if we can rotobrush out this building. There are a couple of ways we could do this. We could use rotobrush to try to do this building, or we could do solids with masks and shapes. And I'm curious what rotobrush's version of this would be first. So let's try rotobrush.
Well, you rotobrush.
I mean, it's interesting to see what rotobrush does to buildings, because it's an AI basically that was trained on primarily on human shapes.
Mm-hmm. So it's not going to like the pointy stuff. It's not going to like the weird stuff, and it's going to have a hard time disambiguating it from the background, I think. But I'm hoping that with
there's enough parallax,
and hopefully there are no Batman on the building.
No Batman.
Correct. And also, the goal of this shot that I'm going to cobble together, it's going to be an unusual kind of shot. So you'll all see once I've created it what I'm doing, which is very bizarre. All right, so back to you, Seth, while I roto.
So I've got this element like bevel and extrusion set here. So now the thing is, I want to take this 3D title and I want to apply these like very 2D retro graphics and textures to them. So this is how I'm going to do it. I am going to focus on this extrusion, like weird, like streaky, like red texture on it. So I created a solid called noise, and I'm going to apply fractal noise to it. I'm going to set it to be max. I'm going to say block complexity to 1. And then I'm going to, in my transformations, I'm going to turn off uniform scaling, scale the width. I'm going to scale the height up so high to touch the sky. I'm going to do it all the way until I only have like one block that it's looking at. And I can't tell if it's not refreshing or if it's just not moving. Let's see. Here we go. So now it's
pretty.
just one block. I'm sure there was an easier way to do this, but this is the way I did it. And so with that made, I'm going to turn that off, go over to element settings and go to custom texture maps and say noise. And then I'm going to say check the effects and masks. And then if I go into, again, this is the part that tends to freeze up After Effects, so everyone cross your fingers. I click Scene Setup. Here we go. And for this dark bevel, I'm going to go in and say, I'm going to set the diffuse. Not illumination. Come on. Set diffuse to that custom layer 1 noise. And for whatever reason, I'm not going to get a preview of it here. This freaked me out the first time I tried it. So just with that set, I'm going to click OK. And immediately you'll see absolutely nothing. And why is that? I don't necessarily remember. Let me see. If I go... Oh, I know why. Because the bevel, the diffuse is set to to black. If I turn this this diffuse back up to white and click OK, I should see some streaks now. And they are very weirdly... They're not being wrapped the way that I want them to be. So I'm going to go back into the scene setup. It's annoying that I can't see a preview of it, but thanks, it's Video Copilot ailment. I'm going to, clicking on the whole model, I'm going to go to UV mapping, and it's by default set to box preserve aspect. I'm going to set it to UV. And then when I click OK, I now have these really nice streaks.
Hey, nice streaks.
Thank you. And I can adjust these. If I adjust the width on the noise, it adjusts the look of the streaks going down here, which is really nice. And I'm going to do the same like custom texture workflow and process for this blue-white-blue gradient that's on the lettering. So I'll real quick create a new adjustment layer. I'm sorry, a new solid, and call it ramp. And I'm going to apply universe gradient ramp because I work at Red Giant and because I like it. Actually, it's because I like it. It's just a plus that I work here. I'm going to set it to be
why do you like it? Is it the fact that you can easily get 3 colors, or is it the fact that it blends more smoothly between the colors?
It blends smoothly. It also allows me an alpha channel in the ramp, which I'm not using here, but I do that a lot. So I've just gotten used to using it more than the other. Start color, I'm gonna quick drop this top of the lettering. The end color, I'm gonna down here at the bottom. And then, you know what? I'm gonna, for the middle color, do this white and see if I can get away with that being the light streak. And I'll turn that off for now. Go to element and say custom texture maps. Layer 2 is going to be the ramp, and say effects and masks. I'm going to hit save because this is often, again, where ailment will... I hate that I'm calling it ailment today. Kramer's going to be mad at me. I promise Kramer's is a joke. I love you and I love this. I am going to go to that. It's not showing up here for some reason. There it is. This bevel 1, and I'm going to do what I did before. I'm going to go down and set the diffuse. This thing has a habit of like the scroll wheel. Oh my God. The scroll wheel moves right when I'm about to click, and it is maddening. Diffuse. There. I'm going to set it to ramp, and I'll click OK. And that looks weird. I'm going to go down here, and on output, I'm going to turn specular all the way down, reflectivity all the way down, and now I'm starting to see that ramp and illumination all the way down. I don't know why illumination is on. And let's see, I'm going to on this ramp, I'm going to move up the endpoint and move the start point down. And now I'm starting to get the result that I was looking for. There's several other ways I could go about doing this, I know. And the people in the chat are probably going to recommend some better ways. And I would love to know them. Now, with that done...
So, speaking of the chat, there's a question, did Supercom get an upgrade in VFX 3? No. There is just bug fixes, obviously, kind of across the board. But the main thing in VFX 3 was the addition of the technology preview of real lens flares. Secondly, speaking of Andrew Kramer, one of his pals at Video Copilot, who did a lot of the work on the THX Deep Note trailer, as well as a lot of the VFX for Video Copilot stuff, Jacob Dalton is presenting for Maxon on Tuesday. For those of you who don't know, the 3D motion show kicks off this Sunday. It's the big one. This is the NAB 3D motion show, so it's huge. It's Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we've got presentations pretty much all day long on Cinema 4D, Redshift, and Red Giant stuff, as well as now some ZBrush things happening. So if you want some Video Copilot goodness and are missing Andrew Kramer, you can get Video Copilot goodness from Jacob Dalton Tuesday at 10:30 Pacific time on the Maxon YouTube channel or 3dmotionshow.com. But don't just wait till then. Starting on Sunday, there's great presentations, so tune in.
Do it.
Do it.
Oh, I also should mention, also on Tuesday, someone you may know called Daniel Hashimoto has a presentation titled something, I'm sure. Hashi, I'm sure you've got a presentation.
Love and Thunder.
No, you're not calling it Love and Thunder.
Nah.
No, because I won't be there.
Just fun with Trapcode, everybody. We're going to push Trapcode to do stuff that it's not really built to do, but looks really cool.
I'm so bummed.
That sounds so much fun.
We were talking about doing a VFX and Chill Live at NAB, and then I had to go be the jerk who couldn't go this year. Everybody, please have fun, and please go see Hashi's presentation, and everyone else's as well. It's going to be a blast. So yeah, you see where I'm going with this. Now, I'm going to keep working on this, but I will say the thing that I can't do with this is I can't keyframe extrusion. And so I'm going to open up Cinema next when we come back to me and walk through what I've learned about doing this kind of stuff in Cinema. Hashio, what are you doing?
So I'm doing some craziness here. So if we'll recall, we had this original little building that I had 3D tracked, and then now I have a 3D space that sort of built around it. I also ran RotoBrush on this building. It wasn't great. I should have just used solids and stuff because these are very jumpy, but I want to move along quickly. So now that I have this building rotoed, this breaks all rules of 3D anything, but I was able to just start creating random copies of this footage, which has a built-in camera move, and place them on cards throughout 3D space that are sort of in different locations throughout here. And then I'm even taking just these little strips of the still background that just have this little city with some of the greenery, and I'm just pushing them into the background and just duplicating, pushing them down, pushing them left or right, and rotating them whichever way. I have no real organization to the way I'm doing this, except that these are all elements that sort of come out of that initial stock footage with really bad masking shapes and everything. But then I'm going to put the original footage for the whole thing super blurred out in the background here, just so I have some kind of a color information. And you'll see that now from the original camera movement, I'm getting this sort of sense of this being a deeper space, which is kind of fun.
So cool.
So,
so much fun.
It's a really
cool.
stupid, janky way to make a complicated city. Like, imagine if I had put any love whatsoever into making these pieces actually work together. I'm going to turn down the opacity of these three. Now you could use a script for this, you could use some post effects for this, but I'm actually just going to turn down the opacity of things that are supposed to be further back for a second. Tinting would actually be more effective than that.
Or using super comp to do the depth
I think
thing.
that may be the best way. So we've got foreground building here. We've got this jazz here. And what's sort of fun is that because there's that parallax from the original camera move, these don't actually work together. Like, that's not the way cameras work. But you get the sense that they're more than just little buildings. So what's missing from this is a bunch of like cool greenery and some cool things like that. So what I would do next normally is, let's see, I think, let me render out, let me go to a crazy view of this, which is over here. I can't remember. Can I render a custom camera view?
Oh, great question.
I don't think I can,
You
right?
go into render presets to see.
Like if I go to here.
It will preview from the active camera.
All right.
That's a
So
bummer.
Can you hit new camera while in a custom camera view and get that new camera in that position? Question mark.
there, new camera. Create from current view. Hey, so let's switch to that. So now we've got that camera and this camera. Okay, custom view 1. Perfect. So instead of doing a bunch of other work, let's just save a still frame of this. I don't plan to do work to make this thing. I'm just going to render this out, this weird little collection right here. And now I've got, all right, now let's switch back to the original 3D Trek camera, which looks like this. Let's bring in that still that we just rendered, which looks like this. I'm going to throw it in the far background. I'm going to make it a 3D layer. I know this is messy, y'all, but check this out. Okay, we can scale this up. We can even scale it to weird proportions and stuff. I can put some of it here. This is so stupid.
Hashi, I don't mind that you're breaking all these rules. What's the chat going to do? Call the police?
That's right.
Cut to the police. Sting is in your house.
All right. Okay, so now we've got this to a reasonable spot.
Guys,
so
am I
going to
muted?
do
Did you not
some-
hear my Sting joke? Guys,
sorry. Ha ha.
hello?
No, it was a good joke. It's where my brain went.
was.
As well.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, no. You're
I'm
making me
slightly
feel better.
afraid that our audience may be a little young for this joke.
B movie worthy jokes here. All right. I'm going to pre-compose these as the far background buildings. I'm going to grab, let's see, a handful of the background buildings here and just try to split these into where they are by depth. So I'll put this one up top, that main building I'll put right in the center, and everything else I'm going to gather, and I'm going to call this the midground. So let's see, let's pre-compose that, move all attributes and call it midground. And then I'm also going to enable transformations, so it's all working just like it was before. Same thing for the background. So now I've got this crazy looking thing. Doesn't quite make sense.
That's
But
awesome.
it's basically this
It works.
Malta building on like,
That's-
just crazy.
That's
So
so freaking fun.
now that these all exist, this foreground building, let me maybe scale it up even more just so we have something. Let's see. If we start low, then can it kind of move off camera? Yeah, let's add some manual keyframes. So it's there. Then as the camera comes up, let's just pretend it would move away because of the camera. That's accurate enough. Okay.
It's so good.
So let's pre-compose this 3D layer because I'm going to use supercomp in a second. So we're just going to say pre-compose, move everything away, pre-collapse that. And now let's add.
Oh, Hashi, I think we should pause here for a second to mention to folks, because SuperComp, like why you're doing this, because
yes.
SuperComp doesn't work with 3D layers yet in After Effects. You can still use 3D layers. You just got to pre-compose them. And then if you tick that continuous rasterize switch, every 3D layer that's in that pre-comp will respond to the camera in the main comp, just as if it were a 3D layer before. But you get the added benefit of whatever you want to do with it as if it were a 2D layer, which includes using SuperComp, but also there's a lot of other things you might want to use it for. But you still get to keep the 3D nature, and you can still change your camera move if you were to have a camera move.
That's very true. All right, I'm taking a little break to go into a small 400 by 1000 pixel comp where I'm going to create a little solid. And then to this, let's add some, you know what? I want to create some waterfalls. So particular would be a perfect way to do this, but another way to do it would be to go and create let's just create a white solid, and let's start to draw a shape of a waterfall.
She's going creating waterfalls is what he's doing.
Don't go creating waterfalls.
We did it.
Or we did it. All right, so I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to use the mask feather tool to add some mask keyframes. I'll put some slight mask keyframes here, or mask points here, feather points there, feather it out even more toward the bottom, feather it even more toward the bottom. Whoops. There we go. So now we've got our waterfall here. Let's add a ramp to this, little gradient ramp where it's, I could have pressed the reverse button, but I didn't. So now we've got it sort of fading off like that. And now we're going to add a couple effects to this. Let's add some fractal noise like that. We're going to turn on transform. We're going to go to perspective offset. And then watch what happens. I think I learned this from Michael Zalapsky, that if you turn on perspective offset, look at that 3D-ish fall you get there. And say that this scaling was much, much smaller to begin with and much more subtle to begin with. Let's turn up the brightness, turn down that contrast, change the blending mode to screen. Actually, no, change it to... Would overlay preserve that ramp? Actually, I could just put the ramp under it, right? No.
Overlay is a good way to do it, yeah.
So here we go. So now we've got this. On the offset turbulence, I'm going to add a quick expression that is like 0 translation for the x, and then time times, let's say, I don't know, 300 pixels per second. Is that too much? Oh, that's too much. Let's go with 100. Like, really what I needed was a little, like, can of Morton salt to do this the ILM way. But here we go. I like this thing. A bit of a waterfall going on here, and I'm going to get some weird results from this feathering. So I'm going to also do a big ol' subtract mask right here. Feather that out. There we go. And then add an adjustment layer on top of that all with some turbulent displace. Which will make it all wiggly. I'm going to change that to just some horizontal displacement, which moves it back and forth like that. Change the scale way, way down. So I'm just getting little teeny wrinkles like that. Turn the amount down. And then let's animate these.
Yes, Pixel Rubbish. It is required to try all the blend modes in a project. That's true.
Yes. What do we got here? We got do. What are you doing, Seth?
I'm just fiddling with this and
I was just had a thought, Seth.
Huh?
I had a thought. As a way to kind of fake extrusion animation with Element, you could do a Hitchcock zoom.
You could.
That would at least get you some of that extrusion-esque, animation-esque thing happening. It's an idea.
That's true. It's not a bad idea at all. Well, where it might break though is that I'm doing a tapering with the extrusion now, with the whole thing now. That.
Oh right, yeah,
that might mess that up.
Yeah. Oh well.
That's a little too much. I wonder if... What's that sound? I heard that during the pre-show. A wasp.
Yeah, what was that sound? That's the sound that I was going crazy about.
Michael, did you hear it?
What did it sound like?
Like an electric wasp just arrived.
Chad, did you hear an electric wasp?
That's my favorite.
It happens
my
during
favorite
our show,
Philip K.
and I
Dick
swear
book.
it's not me going crazy.
My favorite Philip K. Dick book. Chat, did you hear an electric wasp?
All right, there we go. Okay, so I'm just going to call this my waterfall.
Hashi has a great waterfall.
That's your waterfall.
All right, now let's go to some of these pre-comps that I made over here. I don't remember what we called them all. Let's do some better naming here. This one's going to be called the city. If this one's the background, let's look at where some of these are. Actually, let's go to the midground. That's the one that I want to really play with. So this is our midground, and I'm actually going to create a copy of the 3D tracked camera and paste it in midground, so I'm properly seeing what our camera is supposed to see over here. Great.
Keeping in mind, if you are copying and pasting cameras, folks, in the chat, you can hit the copy with property links option in After Effects, so that if you make any changes to the camera movement in your main comp, which Hashi won't in this case since it's a 3D tracked camera, but if you were doing just your own camera animation, and you wanted to be able to keep it easily editable without having to then copy and paste the camera over again, edit copy with property links will make a bunch of expressions so that the camera you place in your pre-comps and the camera you have in your main comp match each other exactly all the time, and it's great. Oh, and also the chat did hear the electric wasp. JC Tecklenburg, whose family makes a very nice bourbon cream, says, "Did Hashi mute himself?"
Who's in the house?
The sound was made.
JC.
Oh, Seth. There's a very small group of people who recognize that song,
and one of them is JC because
one of them is JC.
Brian Beam and I have been doing that to him nonstop at NAB for the past 10 years.
JC's probably glad you're not going to NAB this year.
The JC's always relieved to hear that Seth Worley will not be at NAB because they won't be getting weird Carmen references. And then have to stand there while I explain the Carmen references to a circle of other people who are sitting there with us.
For those of you who don't know, Carmen was a contemporary Christian music singer, and he had a song called "Who's in the House, JC" that sounded terrible even when it came out, but it sounds way worse now.
He's one of those guys who felt like I can rap no matter what age or demographic I am.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Keep in mind, JC stood for Jesus Christ and not whatever JC.
And not
JC Tecklenburg. I don't know. For all I know, your initials might be your initials might stand for Jesus Christ. I don't know, but I assume it's not.
If his name is Jesus Christ Tecklenburg, we've been making the wrong jokes for the past 10 years. That's the honest truth, and we've been praising him less than we should have been.
Anyway, JC says, "Did Hashi mute himself?" And that is what caused the electric wasp to get upset.
What am I missing here?
Probably.
What am I missing on my element pass here? So, just to wrap up here, I've got this. The top is the original.
Right.
I've got Love and Universe, and then I've got Love and Element, and next I'm going to do Love and Cinema 4D.
Well, you've got half an hour to do Love and Cinema 4D.
Anything missing from this Love and Element one before I move on?
I think it looks good.
I think so.
Do you have your electricity?
Oh, no, I don't have my Electrify. Thank you. That's what exactly. I knew I was missing something.
Beautiful. So, yeah, we brought up Video Copilot. I'm going to rely on them a little more for this as well. They have some cool aerials that I really like that I'm just going to bring right into this crazy comp and turn into 3D layers and see what I can break. Let's see what this looks like. So here's aerial 4. And let's find an angle that these clouds are similar to what would make this look like a city in the clouds. Oh, yeah, it's working so well. Boom. Okay. So I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to do this. Check it out. Let's just run a really simple color range. Or actually, no, let's do extract. Let's extract all the dark values and then feather it back gently and just see if we can get some clouds. Look at that. See? A really stupid and simple way to extract some clouds out of a background here. Let me duplicate that and then maybe flip this. Oh, I didn't duplicate that. I duplicated the effect. Let's duplicate aerial 4. Let's replace it with, I don't remember if either of these have good sky values. This one might. Oh yeah, look at this. Some photos of clouds, everyone. Just throwing them in here. I'm going to throw this one up here. I'm going to put it above the main building here, but behind that building there. Let's see what this looks like right now. Okay, it's a lot of cloud coverage. It's a little bit too much cloud coverage, if I'm being honest. Should be about that much cloud coverage in New Thor City. That's where he lived, right?
Yes, Thor City.
Thor City.
Thor City.
Thor City. It's
Thor
actually
City.
not the capital of Thor World. It's actually Albany.
Prattsville, which confuses everyone.
Oh my god. I love you all for sticking with us. All right, we've got. I've got to do that same. Come back. Goofy trick of pre-composing some of these. Pre-compose. We'll call these the clouds. Pre-compose these ones and call them some more clouds.
Apparently, Red Plaid Films in the chat is on board with Carmen music.
Well,
listen, so in Springfield, Missouri, where which is this nearest city to me as a child, the very first Walmart Supercenter in the area was opening. This was back when Walmart Supercenters were cool. Like the employees were on roller skates, like for the big grand opening, like they were on roller skates because it was such a big store. They did roller skates to get around because, they didn't have big stores back then. And so the employees were on roller skates to get around for the big grand opening. And Carmen was there doing an autograph signing. He was like the big star. He was there to sign autographs at the opening of the Walmart Supercenter. It was a great day for me as a child.
that's incredible.
Wow. Who are some of your early celebrity meetings, Seth? That from from your earliest years that you can remember?
I grew up. My parents worked in the Christian music industry for early years of my life, and so I grew. Unfortunately, they're all like people no one's ever heard of. But I did as a child. Apparently, I was on a plane with Kim Basinger, and a friend of my parents who was with us told me that was Batman's girlfriend. This is like 1986, I think whatever year Batman was. It was like the year after. So that was 1990 maybe, or 1989. It's like, that's Batman's girlfriend. You should go say hi. And I believe I said hello to Batman's girlfriend on the plane.
It's phenomenal.
What about you? You grew up you were in friggin' LA for a large part. No, you weren't.
I wasn't. As a kid, I remember my most exciting celebrity meeting was at a Blockbuster Video. I got to meet Raphael from the Ninja Turtles. And that was
this
pretty
the stage?
Cool. I was
the stage Raphael, like the toured, or was this like?
I did get to attend the Out of Their Shells tour.
Yeah.
Which was pretty remarkable. which comes along with a spectacular behind the scenes documentary. If you want a deep dive into Ninja Turtles culture of the early whatever.
I know that it was a very weird tour because they licensed the characters and the costumes, like they were not built by, they're not Jim Henson's costumes. They were like some fake made, some like, hackneyed last minute a production of costumes, and the shells couldn't fit, so that's why they called it the Coming Out of Their Shells tour, and they're wearing denim jackets the whole time. Like it's a bunch of vulnerable turtles,
like denim vests. I think even like they're just like
yes.
Oh, those are some good jams.
And you got to go. That's incredible.
That was an exciting time. I was like, there they are.
I mean, like, when I was a kid living in like rural Missouri, I didn't get to meet a lot of celebrities other than Carmen. But my Sunday school teacher at my church was Brad Pitt's brother. And he, Brad Pitt's brother, because Brad Pitt's from Springfield, Missouri. And Brad Pitt's brother, Doug Pitt, owned a computer store there. I don't know if he still does. But when I saw Ocean's 11 for the first time, you know when Brad Pitt dresses up as a doctor, he's got those glasses on? That is exactly what his brother looks like. I was like, holy cow. Yeah, I mean, exactly what he looked like. So yeah, my Sunday school teacher was Brad Pitt's brother.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, chat, what are your celebrity stories? We'd love to hear them.
We would.
Frigby Chillweather asks if you met Stryker, Seth.
No, Striper was before my time. And Petra, I went to elementary school with the lead singer of Petra's son. And then my good friend growing up, and still now a very good friend of mine, his dad is Michael W. Smith, who was like, Christian music superstar. My dad won a Dove Award for taking Michael W. Smith. This is a very nerdy piece of trivia. My dad was responsible for a project called the Michael W. Smith Project, I believe, where they took Michael's music and created choral arrangements for them for church choirs and high school choirs to be able to sing his music at church. And my dad was in charge of that project and won a Dove Award for it. My mom has several Dove Awards. I have a Dove Award, and my dad has a Dove Award. So anyone who knows anything about Christian music still won't care about that, but they'll at least know what I'm talking about.
The Dove Awards are like the Grammys for Christian music.
Yes.
For those who don't know, I didn't know you had a Dove Award. Holy cow!
Yeah, hold on.
So now I have a friend with a Grammy and a friend with a Dove Award. So I'm just covering all my music award.
That's why he's an award-winning.
It's this right here.
Filmmaker.
Holy cow!
Ridiculous.
What did you get that for?
I won it when I was 16 years old. So here's what happens. I come downstairs one day. My mom was a gospel music recording artist for the first 6 years of my life. And before
what was her
that,
name?
Carla Worley, Carla with a K. And she toured with the Gaithers and that era of CCM, that pocket of it. And then for a while after she retired from that, she wrote several books and made a good living writing these church musicals, youth musicals specifically, where they were collection of songs and that they had licensed or something, and then skits. My mom wrote the skits and all of that. And I come downstairs one day and my mom is burned out. She's basically she was exhausted. She had a deadline coming up. I was 15 or 16, and she said desperate. She was like, Seth, do you want to try writing a skit or two for this musical? Because I'm off, by that point I'm Mr. Filmmaker, right? So I'm already writing my own garbage. And so I went upstairs and I wrote 2 skits, and they put them in the youth musical. So my name got on the front of it. And then it won Youth Musical of the Year, which is a pre-telecast Dove Award. I was handed this award by Bible Man himself. And the rest is history.
Oh my gosh. That is amazing.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I have a very Forrest Gump life for a very specific niche of people.
That's impressive. I did not know you wanted Double Word. That's fantastic. The chat is starting to light up with their stories. Jesse Rogers says that their brother has filmed music videos for King and Country. I love For King and Country. Funny story about that. So my dad thought Rebecca St. James would be a great match for me, marriage-wise. And so he was like always trying to get me to go to her concert. And I was very interested because her brothers I thought were hot. And her brothers are For King and Country.
Yes, and they used to come into the Starbucks I worked at all the time. There are like 20 of them.
There's a lot of them. They work on her stage. They work on her show. Like they did the lights, the sound. Like they were on a stage show. So I was all about going to her concert to see them, but I never did get to.
There's like 20,000 small bones out there, and they're all in King and Country.
Yeah. Nick Smith met Mark Hamill as he was leaving a QVC shoot in Pennsylvania. Had him sign a photo he'd bought the day before.
Ooh. That's a fun meeting.
Wow.
Santosh Shinde worked as an account for Dharma Productions, a movie production house, before they decided to go do their own thing. So there's some of the chat's celebrity stories. But come on, chat. There's like 69 of you. You've got to have some more celebrity stories than that.
I'm trying to think of like more memorable, like if it's not early, but memorable celebrity stories. I've got the charade. I've got charades with J.J. Abrams, which I've told 1,000 times. What was that?
I don't think I'm going to believe any story Frigby Chillweather tells.
Because it's you?
Frigby Chillweather says, I met Leo DiCapri in a toilet, and he said, I have to go tinkle, which... Anyway,
that's Leo De Capri. That's actually a different a different actor.
JC Checklenberg says, my mom developed the Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego TV show.
What?
Amazing.
What?
Amazing.
Holy hell.
Okay, stop the presses.
Who's in the house now,
just cool
JC?
For your bourbon cream. I didn't know you did some stuff like this. Holy moly.
Your mom developed Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, like the game show, the one with like the and gumshoes. I'm the chief. Like
JC, you need more information than that, buddy.
JC, what? Why haven't you've been talking to me about this for years? Lead with that.
Oh my gosh.
Because everyone's embarrassed by what their parents did.
I just went for like an hour talking proudly about my parents and their Dove Awards. Hashi, you lived in LA longer than I did. Tell us what's your most memorable celebrity story as an adult?
Oh my gosh. So yeah, getting to work where I did get to meet lots and lots and lots, which was crazy, including going to one of the pre-Oscar parties where the entire party was celebrities, which was just overwhelming and very absurd. But let's see, memorable stories. One of my favorites was when I was on the show How to Train Your Dragon. Every so often you had like 5 movies being developed at the same time at DreamWorks, and so you had you kind of got insulated in your own show, and so we would like to have an open house every so often and have people like come to your area of the studio and see what you're working on, putting something together or something like that. So I had designed this cool thing where it was a rear projected burlap screen that looked like it had a big sleeping dragon behind it that would occasionally wake up and spray fire, which would look like this big lighting effect behind a thing for hours. And we really liked that. And at the time, DreamWorks was split into 2 campuses, the one in Glendale, and they had some buildings up in kind of San Jose area where PDI originally was. And so they wanted to take that presentation up there, and I was not at all qualified to be one of the people who was getting to travel up to PDI for this event. But I did try explaining in detail how to set up the rear projection system to my supervisor, who at some point said, we've just got to bring him. And so I said, cool. And so they were going to fly us all out on Jeffrey Katzenberg's jet that he would use to fly people up to PDI whenever he needed to. But Jeffrey was going to be up there the day prior for some other meeting. And so he wasn't available. So he called his friend Steven to say, hey, can we borrow your plane for tomorrow to fly this small group out there? And Steven wasn't using his. Steven
the S for DreamWorks SKG.
Yes. So I got to drive to the Burbank airport to one of the secret entrances where you basically drove your car through, showed your ID to some people, and you got to drive out to a plane on a tarmac. Like, get out of your car. I remember I felt like an ass because I ran to grab some McDonald's breakfast on the way because this was early in the morning, and I was like, I'm going to be hungry. So I showed up there with my McDonald's trash at an airport, which I'm just like going to leave in my car that I'm parking next to an airplane. And as I got to board Steven Spielberg's private jet, there was, of course, a chef station immediately inside with someone cooking omelets for us. And then a bunch of like attached to the ground furniture with airline seat belts arranged like in the coolest private jet you've ever seen. And I do remember going to using the facilities at one point, and there was a hoodie hung up in just the like closet of the like against a little closet door in there. And I was like, that's probably Steven's hoodie. Should I steal Steven's hoodie? Would I get in trouble for it?
Oh my gosh. Actually, I'm going to tell a story similar to that. No, not similar to that. I'm sorry.
Hang on, Seth. Before you get to your story, I think Vagsy has a story that tops Hashi's. Vagsy said, I met a stormtrooper when I was 7 outside a toy store and I cried.
Oh,
dude, that's more meaningful than my story.
That's the proper response to a stormtrooper as a child. Like, there's no, if you are a child and you see a stormtrooper and you're like, I'm excited to see you and all of your friends, then we should worry about you as in terms of your allegiances. This is not only related to your story, Hashi, in the very end where you stole Steven Spielberg's hoodie. That's on record, right? That as being what happened.
What? I don't know. No, this is somebody else's entirely.
100%. So I directed a commercial. If I told the story here before, please stop me. But I directed a commercial of Bad Robot years ago. I'm sitting there terrified. I've only met JJ once so far in this experience, and he comes in where I'm working and is like messing around with these sign painter brushes. It's like literally the thing you expect JJ Abrams to be doing. He was doing. He's like, oh, I found a sign painter brush in the art room. I'm going to like do sign paintery things and shine flashlights in people's eyes. And I'm doing everything I can to play it cool to the point of being almost hostile and like to the point of like being like unavailable as a person. And I'm on my computer but I remember this joke that my friend Josh and I had made. Josh is in the room at the time, who worked there, and he had joked that the Star Trek Into Darkness trailer that had come out earlier that day, that they should do a red band version where Josh just screams the F word over it. And so I'm like, hey, I work it into the conversation where I'm like, oh, it's like, hey, Josh, like you were saying we should do the blah, 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 blah. I'm funny. And I look over and JJ has written the F word in cursive with the sign painter brushes. And he giggles and I giggle. And he turns it over, starts drawing the word sail as like a test thing. And then it's lunchtime and he leaves without finishing it. And he throws the poster board that he was drawing on in the trash. And when he's out of sight, I promptly lean down and picked it up out of the trash. Hang on. Picked it up out of the trash, and now I have J.J. Abrams' F word. On the other side, fun fact, is where he started writing Sail. And I was finishing the short Spy vs. Guy, the Red Giant short film, at the time while I was there working on this commercial. And long story short, there's a scene in Spy vs. Guy where the spy buys a used car from me, actually, playing a used car salesman. You don't see my face. And it starts on a close-up of like the front of a windshield of a car with like a price written in it, and it quickly pans across all of these other cars with things that we had digitally composited on all the windshields. One of them, I don't know if you can catch it, but one of them has JJ's sail. We scanned it and composited it on the front of a car. So there is art by JJ Abrams and Spy vs. Guy.
That is phenomenal.
And then I stole his hoodie, and now Hashi and I are director hoodie bros.
Hoodie bros. All right. I don't know where I've gone with this, but I've thrown this thing into Super Comp where I've been able to basically just like fog out a handful of things, add some diffusion around clouds. I'm not liking the color correction that's over top of this all, but I don't like that either. So I would do some more tweaking to the color in here. But we've got our discount. I don't know what this is. Valhalla 2.0 section.
Hashi, this looks amazing.
It really does.
Considering we know how you made it, and it shouldn't look that good.
No, it shouldn't at all.
Let's see. I'm slowing this down a little bit now. Nope. Mouse sensitivity too high. Here it is, everyone. I'm just gonna RAM preview this.
Folks, if you need an aerial city quick, let me tell you. This is the way to do it.
Yeah, this is about as quick as you could do this particular thing. Actually, what if I just optical load the super comp result? Turn the result to like 2, size up, just make everything feel all mistily tied together.
You could do that with the new optical diffusion in Magic Bullet Looks if you felt so inclined, people.
Yes.
It uses a similar algorithm. It's slightly different, but it's very similar. One of the really cool things about the new optical diffusion in Magic Bullet Looks is it's got 2 sets of presets in there. One set of presets is based on real world lens filters. Like they got crazy ridiculous and took set up a whole scene with good stuff for reference, shot with a bunch of different lens filters, and then emulated those looks of those lens filters in the presets. So there's that if you want to be like photoreal. But then there's also a section for juicing up your 3D renders. I have a preset in my Magic Bullet Looks that I use for all my work, like with Sketchers and other places, where I could warm up my 3D renders. And when I say that, I mean make it more friendly, make it less digital, make it more analog. And there's a whole set of presets in optical diffusion in Magic Bullet Looks that are made specifically for juicing up a 3D render to make it just feel a little more photographed. So as a pro tip there. Now, Seth, your viewport is experiencing issues that are due to the M1 chip and streaming simultaneously. For those who are seeing the glitches on Seth's screen, that is an issue. That is a bug in M1. So if you have your Cinema 4D viewport up and you're streaming simultaneously on an M1 chip, you can get viewport glitches like Seth is experiencing.
That is correct. That's what's happening. Anyway, I basically I know how to extrude text in Cinema. I'm just not sure what else to do here in Cinema because so much of this effect is the compositing. So,
Seth, I would use real quick. I would take that same text spline, so make an instance of it, and use that in a sweep object and sweep a little cylinder, sweep a little.
Yeah, help me. I was trying to do that to get an outline.
Yeah.
I was trying to do that, and I couldn't make it work.
Yeah, put it in there, and then put a circle in there.
A circle?
Yeah. Or if you want to be real clever, an end side. Put an end side in there.
Wait. Yeah. Why? How does this work? I don't understand this.
Put it underneath the sweep, and then make that end side way smaller, like a radius of 1. Make a radius of 1, basically.
I never understood how this worked.
Yeah. Well, so what a sweep does is it takes a spline shape.
I did know
and
this.
Then makes that spline shape go along the whole length. It's like you extruded that spline shape and then just wrapped it around your other spline.
Hashi,
so the first spline is profile spline.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so make it like 0.1. Now, the reason I'm using an end side is if you look at the actual wireframe that it's making, a circle gives you way too much density because of how small this is going to be, because a circle is, perfectly round, and this is going to be so tiny that it doesn't matter. Like maybe 1 or maybe even 0.5 radius. So the reason I'm using an N side is because you don't need all that detail. It just slows things down. So
The problem is
you can specify how much detail you want in the mesh. So 6 sides is fine probably with a good Phong angle. 8 sides if you.
Problem is it's
want
giving me this
12.
thing. This stuff.
Yeah, that is a problem.
But now the question is, can I drop these 2 taper instances into it and get the same? Oh no, I can't. Hang on.
Just put everything. Just group everything under null and use the current ones you've already got.
Oh, you animal. Okay. It's like you know what you're doing.
It's pretty good. Yeah, if this were like a properly made font, those would be consistent outlines.
Yeah, that shouldn't be.
Oh, problem is my outline's on the back, so I've got to.
Just extrude the other direction.
Oh yeah.
All right, I'm gonna close down my crazy city here, but this is where I'm comfortable getting it to. It's a puzzle pieced together, wild super comp experiment, but it turned out pretty fun.
That's pretty awesome.
I'm going to close down my After Effects and just let it. Yeah, look at that. It's tired.
Well, so that's what I would do for cinema, and now I'd probably I would apply, just to get this real quick way to prep this for Element, is I would apply I'd apply to the sweep and the 2 different textures, even though I'm not changing anything about them, and that'll open up an element allowing me to like apply different textures to the sweep and a different one to the extrude if I wanted to.
And you'll also need to convert those to geometry too before you.
Yes, thank you. It's exactly
throw it
what
out
I
there.
wanted to do. Thank you. But yeah, it's 1:54. I got a little bit of time. I'll keep doing that. Let's see.
Excellent. What should I do in 5 minutes here? I don't want to do anything more for that city.
You want to raptorize Thor?
You know what? It's all I've been wanting to do.
If Thor's the one you want to raptorize.
Let me see.
I think with the hair, I feel like with the chains shot or the one where he kisses the woman, one or the other.
Those are both pretty good. Wait, let's see. All right, where did we save the Thor preview?
By the way, just a reminder, if you're a fan of our obsession with Raptors, listen to my other podcast, my other show this past week. Brian Polly and I wrote a movie called Inglorious Raptors.
Oh my goodness. I feel like we should use some of our remaining minutes to play your bumper for that. It's incredible.
Oh, I'll play it at the end.
All right, I love it.
You do also need to remember to play the thing you played at the beginning at the end as well.
Oh, then I'll do that too at the end as well.
We're gonna have an exciting ending. Hashi, you've got 5 minutes to raptorize Thor.
See, this would be a cool shot. To raptorize too.
Oh man,
Chirp.
all of them, the whole movie, the whole trailer.
God, it's so beautiful. Oh my God. I'm just gonna watch this trailer for the next 5 minutes.
It's so fun.
How about the shot of Chris Pratt peeking around Thor?
I mean, that's an incredible one. Oh man. That's gotta, I mean, I can't improve on this shot though. All right, where's my raptor head? It is.
By the way, I like that we're calling it Chris Pratt and Thor, not Star-Lord and Thor, or
That Star-Lord name just gets no respect, you know.
Jesse Rogers wants a Raptor Thor riding a rocket board holding a flag with crazy electric guitar music.
Wait, let's see. Well, Jesse, I'm going to grab your sentence, and I'm going to...
Yes. Mid-Journey.
Yes, ups. What did I do? Nope, that's Dino Boy. Discord. Let's see. Don't switch. Let's see. I don't remember how much of this feed is safe for work, so I'm just going to pull it off screen for a second.
Nothing I ask here is going to be good, so we're just gonna leave it.
Oh, you don't want to know the things that have happened to Hashi and I. Well,
I'm just curious what prompts he's giving the AI.
Jump to the present. I'm telling the AI to generate a Raptor Thor riding a rocket board holding a flag with crazy electric guitar music. And I'm just going to see what percolates over here. I don't know if you can pop out a chat. No, it looks like not. All right. The screen is relatively safe for the moment. So let's see, what have we got? How do we... I don't remember if I can zoom in or not. All right. So here's what we've got. We've got a Raptor Thor riding a rocket. Whoops. All right, which one of these do we want to see enhanced? Do I jump out of the call? Let's see. I'm curious to see some variations on number 3 and maybe some variations on number 2.
Jesse says he was thinking about that Mark Zuckel thing we made a while ago. Yeah, that was a good episode.
That was some fun times. Let's see. All right. So, Jesse, this is where our AI got us to. Let's see. I feel like somewhere in this category, we've got some interesting stuff going on. Let's up-res number 1 of this and just see what that looks like. And for those of you who missed it, I am using Midjourney's AI generative art bot, which basically is taking just the text from Jesse's prompt, which was a Raptor Thor riding a rocket board holding a flag with crazy electric guitar music, and it is creating this as we speak. Let's see. So it's generatively getting more and more complicated.
We have hit the time, folks.
All right. Well, I'll get to this some other time. Dang it. Hashi, how much longer do you think it would take you to do what you're doing?
Oh, I'm not going to get to the rising.
Well, in that case, this was a very fun episode, I thought. Anything we want to shout out about before we go? NAB.
Well, just a reminder, we got the NAB show. All the presentations from the Maxon booth are being streamed live. Hashi's on there. We got some folks from Video Copilot, and we've got a bajillion other people doing stuff in Cinema 4D, Redshift, Red Giant Tools, ZBrush. It's all happening starting this Sunday. Also carrying on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. EJ Hassenfratz is there. Beeple is there doing his thing. There's a lot of new artists as well that we haven't had on the show before, which is cool. Also, Maxon announced this week on 420 that there's a whole bunch of blazing awesome new tools in Magic Bullet, Trap Code, Universe, VFX Suite, and a whole new version of Cinema 4D and new Redshift stuff coming. So those are the two things I think we should announce.
I don't like that at all. All right.
But also, Seth, you've got a video to play of something from us.
I do have something from us and something from. So real quick, I'll show you guys the promo for the Writers Room Game Show. Real quick, that we mentioned.
That's it for now. Talk soon. Kissy, kissy.
Oh, you said that way too slowly,
I
sir.
do not like that.
Hey, what if we remake Inglorious Bastards?
What, with Velociraptors?
Yes, and it was called Inglorious Raptors.
Let's do it. I think we have to. The idea is out there. You can't say no to that. I think it's against the law to say no to that.
It's against the law to say no to Inglorious Raptors.
And it's these huge big name actors.
100%.
Like the biggest movie stars in the world.
Even
but
bigger
now
movies.
they're
Like
Raptors.
you have Brad Pitt at the front of it, but then you got to fill it with even bigger movie stars.
Oh my gosh, what a stupid name for a movie.
So check that out.
Oh my gosh, I had not noticed that it was directed by Spielberg.
Oh, 100% directed by Spielberg.
Phenomenal.
That was the assignment. We had to pick a movie to remake and assign a different director to direct it.
Glorious. Inglorious.
Inglorious. So, other than that, the big announcement that we have lots of new merch. That's it for this week. See you guys on the Flippity Flip.